Good afternoon, Rotarians. Bob, I can always count on you to listen for me. Everyone else is talking and you're paying attention. I appreciate it. Welcome to the last meeting of April, the April 30th meeting of the Rotary Club of Des Moines. I am your current president, Tim Lilwitz. Thanks to Nakona Dayton today for serving as our greeter. Thank you, Nakona. We do not have. I didn't change anything, I swear to God. We do not have a moment of inspiration today, so I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the four-way test, and then we will greet our fellow Rotarians. So please stand. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the four-way test.
Is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Now please take a few minutes to greet each other.
Welcome. Good to see you. Jordan, good to meet you.
Hey, Jordan, what was the change?
I don't know what that was.
I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I never heard it sound like that in here. Did they change the...
How are you? It's good work. Good to see you. I enjoyed being building for a while. Tom? Tom, nice to meet you. My wife is
John, long time no see.
Good to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to see you.
My wife is a pharmacist at IV, and Michelle Fiala went over to work for me a couple of years. Oh, yeah. Melissa Fiala. Yeah, she worked quite a few years. Yeah, she's a great pharmacist. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, too. Nice to meet you. Pleasure. Yeah, Kitty's assistant. Help her out.
John Timlowitz. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming.
Pardon me, sir.
You're featured prominently here. Bias guest is here. Okay, I'm just making sure. Did we ever find out whatever Rotarian he was? What club? Oh, okay.
Maybe others.
Okay. We will move on with the rest of our program, and as we always do, we will welcome and recognize our guests that are here with us today. So guests, we have a few of you today. Please stand when I call your name and just remain standing, and we'll give you a round of applause at the end. First, we have John Forbes, candidate for Polk County Supervisor, is here, and guest of Jackie Norris. We have Rob Gardner, COO and Chief of Staff of the Iowa Hospital Association, and I understand Rob, a former Rotarian, right, from Mount Pleasant? Good. And a guest of Nadi Purim. Cami Schaefer is here. She is the Partnership Relations Manager for the Iowa Association of Business and Industry. She is a prospective member and a guest of Barney Hockenberg's. And then, last and certainly least, we have Zach Hauslaw, Financial Advisor at Morgan Stanley and the current president of the Des Moines AM Club. Please the guest of myself. I'm actually attending the Des Moines AM meeting tomorrow morning, so I'm sure I'll be greeted kindly. All right, where in the world is Club 27 for our guests? And we're actually talking about this before. The Rotary Club Des Moines is the 27th club in the world, over 45,000 Rotary clubs in over 200 countries. And what we like to do is have members send us pictures from their travels and nice, pleasant pictures. Well, this year seems to be a theme of past President Saltzgaber. So this year, or this week, past President Saltzgaber and past President Wooten were in Audubon, Iowa with Albert the Bull, the world's largest bull. I'm not sure if this is like an antique roadshow thing, or maybe, should we take a poll on what's the best face in that picture? I don't think you want to, yeah, I'm not sure you want to know the results of that, Steve, so.
Well, I've worst it come in a second.
Thank you, Doug and Skeet, for sending that picture. But in all seriousness, if you are going somewhere fun or more scenic than Audubon, Iowa, please send us a picture, and we will put it up there. Okay, just a few more things before we get to Joel. Josh Brady has a March Madness Fellowship announcement and follow-up. Josh. Very good.
It is a step up from the Floor Drive IV, though, so we're moving our way around town. We're a little late, but March Madness obviously wrapped up, and we've been trying to get it on the calendar for Carter to do this. He's been pretty busy, so we're trying to do it here before we hit May. So Carter is leading our, we'll call it esports fellowship with March Madness and fantasy football. But we had 27 participants, so a little over $500 for the group, which half of that or more will come back to the foundation. We do have this lovely trophy, which will be a traveling trophy. So the winners will have their name and the year inscribed side of the trophy. We're going to trust this won't fall off. So third place was Kyle McCormick. So the top three winners are a split of the 50-50 cash prize. Third place was Kyle McCormick. Second place was Bill Wright. And then first place, which we've vetted multiple times, there's only two people in the club that had a Big Ten person winning. One was Bill Wright, so he jumped up. And then we had, I think he went from 11th to first overnight. So President Tim is our true champion, thanks to
Oh, it doesn't have my name on it.
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
We had to wait for the committee to vet it.
Okay. Well, thank you. I will, as I told Kitty, and here, I'll put this over here so it's not sitting in my face. As I told Kitty and Josh, I'm going to donate an extra $100 of those winnings back to the foundation this year. And I'm going to do it not in my name, but in the name of Ben McCullum's been to an Elite Eight before TJ Alzenberger has, so I'm just going to throw that out there. We'll put that in the foundation's financials so we can everyone can take a look at it. Okay, last thing before we get to Joel, we do have Rotary Law and Disorder back this week. So right, that's why everyone showed up today, I'm sure. This, for those that don't know, Rotary Law and Disorder is my attempt every week to poke a little fun at my chosen profession with either some interesting things that have happened, you know, in the courtroom or interesting cases from around the country. The one I have today maybe isn't ha-ha funny, but it is amusing nonetheless, and it hits the theme. Every week I remind you to stay true to the good. Well, this tells you that even if you stay true to the good, you might not avoid Rotary Law and Disorder. So, Colorado, 2005, Taylor Ostergaard and Lindsay Joe Zaletti, 17 and 18, were on summer vacation from high school, and they decided that they wanted a project, so they decided to make some home-baked cookies to bring cheer to their neighbors. Taylor asked her father's permission to do this, and he said, sure, as long as you get your chores done and I get to eat some of the cookies, that'll be great. So The two girls bake the cookies, and by the time they get done, it's dusk or early evening, so it's getting dark, and so they rush out to their neighborhood in Durango, Colorado to deliver the plates of cookies to their neighbors. And they decided, we're only going to do it where there's lights on inside so we know the people are home. And part of this was to be anonymous, right? So they didn't want to have to greet everyone, they just wanted to bring some cheer. So they put a little message on each plate that said, written in a big heart, red heart message, "Have a great night, love the T&L Club," after their names. So one of the 9 neighbors they delivered to was Renee Young, 49, who was home. She had a light on her kitchen, and so the teens put a plate of cookies on her porch, knocked on the door, and scampered off because they wanted it to be anonymous. They assumed they were doing a good deed, after all. Renee says that she was startled to hear someone at her door at night and called out, "Who's there?" And with no reply, she was so terrified she called 911. The sheriff responded and found no signs of trouble, no vandalism, no trespass, just a plate of cookies with a note. And he told her, of course, I think everything's okay around here, right? So all's well that ends well, right? Wrong. Renee, the next day, was still suffering from what she said was severe anxiety throughout the night from having, she thought, a heart attack because someone had knocked on her door at night. She checked into the emergency room, but of course was medically cleared with no issues, but a $900 bill. Taylor and Lindsay found out through the neighbors in the neighborhood that Renee had been frightened, and they were horrified and felt terrible. So they didn't want to knock on her door again. That didn't go well last time. So they each sent her a letter of apology. And Taylor said in part, "I didn't realize this would cause any trouble for you. I just wanted you to know that someone cared about you and your family." Obviously a very heartfelt note. The two girls' families even offered to pay Renee Young's $900 medical bill. Renee was not satisfied with the written apology, which I find ironic. She said in large part because it wasn't delivered in person. She then filed suit in La Plata County Small Claims Court demanding $3,000 to cover her medical expenses, a motion sensor light for her porch, lost wages, and punitive damages. In small claims court, those of you who don't know, there's no protracted discovery process or litigation, so it goes right to a hearing. The teens show up, bring letters from around their neighbors around town saying, "Hey, the cookies were great, it was a lovely gift, it was a very nice thing to do." Their parents even wrote to the court saying, "Hey, we feel this is really absurd. Knocking on a door and leaving cookies is a gesture of kindness. It shouldn't create anxiety in the general public." Judge Doug Walker heard the case, but since the families, and small claims judges do this all the time, they try and give each side a little bit of a win, right? So since the families had offered to pay her medical bills, he awarded Renee $900, but no more, no motion sensor light, no punitive damages, none of that kind of stuff. So this is the end of it, right? Nope. The girls, of course, go home and are a little bit distraught, like, we had to pay $900 for doing something so nice and generous. But Renee was happy to talk to the media. So she said in, I think it was the local newspaper at first, she said the girls showed very poor judgment and shouldn't have been running around at night since something bad could have happened to them. And she said, as for her lawsuit, she hopes the girls learned a lesson because she claimed they had pounded on her door so hard and frightened her. So of course, the state's largest newspaper picks it up from the local newspaper, right? And people and writes a story about it. People from all over Colorado were outraged that someone would be so mean as to sue two young teens trying to do something nice for their neighbors by delivering a plate of cookies. So scores of people offered to donate to fund and pay the legal judgment. The girls, being what I would call very Rotarian-like, said, "Hey, if we get more than $900, we'll donate it to some charities, including the Never Forgotten charity, which was set up for the Columbine High School, post-Columbine High School shooting, because it was in the Denver area." So they collected all this money, and with the state's biggest newspaper picking it up, TV shows across the country like Good Morning America and The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, all these picked up on the story, right? The girls turned down everything but the Good Morning America, and their parents went on there, and they thought that one was appropriate just to say, hey, there's still good in the world, people aren't afraid to do good deeds, right? They didn't demean Renee Young or the judge or anything like that. Meanwhile, Renee Young goes on CNN, still commenting in the press, and she says she and her husband were devastated and may now have to move out of town because of all the negative reactions and insults that they've incurred from suing them. So again, the moral of the story is, I don't think they ever actually did move, but the moral of the story is, hey Renee, you won your lawsuit, but even being, if Taylor and the other friend, even being Rotarian may not keep you out of Rotary law and disorder. So don't sue anyone for putting a plate of cookies on your doorstep. All right. Thank you for bearing with me. That was a little bit of a long one, but Will Brown is now here to introduce our keynote speaker for today. Will?
Wow, lots of laughs this morning. I love Rotary, I do. Hello, fellow Rotarians and guests. I'm happy to have you here today. I am honored today to introduce this guest. He is a personal good friend of mine. I've known him for almost 20 years now. Our kids all went to DMC together. We coached our boys together in basketball from kindergarten until we handed them over to AAU. We then traveled the country watching them play as well. We share scripture and build each other up spiritually. He's just a fantastic guy. So honored to introduce you here today, Joel. Joel Veenstra is a small town kid. I love this write-up. Small town kid who grew up in Tracy, Iowa, about 10 miles south of Pella. He attended Pella Christian High School and graduated from Dorr College with an engineering degree. He then went on to Iowa State and received a master's degree in structural engineering. He's been married to his high school sweetheart, Julia, who's also awesome, for 37 years. They have 3 kids and 4 grandkids. Out of school, Joel worked for Pitt Des Moines Steel for 9 years and has now been with Baker Group for the past 25 years. He started out as an engineer and migrated into project management and operations over the years. He was just promoted to president of Baker Group in the fall of 2025. So please join me in welcoming Joel Veenstra.
Well, our oldest kids now are in their 30s. So we've probably known each other for 25, 30 years, I bet. But thank you for that, and thank you for having me here today. I gotta tell you, I'm a Rotary newbie, okay? I haven't been to one of these before, but I love the Pledge of Allegiance. I love the raucousness and the fun in the room and the patriotism. I think we could all use a little bit more of that. I'm going to share just a little bit about Baker Group in general, a little bit of history, and then jump into kind of this data center stuff that's burning up the news every single day. Baker Mechanical was founded in 1963 by Bernie Baker and his wife Bernice. And for starters, I just love the names. Okay, you cannot make this stuff up. And Bernie started doing in the 60s and 70s, small apartment complexes and a little bit of commercial work, mostly on the east side. And the office was located on East 29th and Hubble. Bernice ran her own hair salon on the first floor of the house, and Bernie had his plumbing business in the back. And as the story goes, the Christmas parties would combine the plumbers and the hairstylists. Okay, and you never know by the end of the night who was going to go home with who. I can't imagine those early days. In '71, Bernie's son BJ started working in the business, and by '84, Bernie decided to retire, and BJ took over. Shortly after that, BJ hires Gary Bridgewater, and this is notable because I would tell you that BJ and Gary Bridgewater have been the foundation of Baker Group and if you know those names, have been the foundation of Baker Group for like over 40 years. BJ has really been kind of the visionary, and I don't know, was BJ Baker ever a Rotarian?
No.
Okay, yeah, back in the day. And Gary Bridgewater, I would tell you, was the engine that made everything go from an operations standpoint. BJ's still the chairman of our board. Gary still sits in the CEO role. As the years went by, we became bigger and more complex, and in '98 we formally changed the name to Baker Group. In '99, BJ decided to move the office in the upper right there, about a mile east on Hubble, to 4224 Hubble, and built a new office and updated an old shop, and that served us really well through the 2000s. And then we were kind of landlocked there, continued to grow, and again, BJ being the visionary, in 2017 he said, hey, let's move the entire operation. He bought some land just south of the Ankeny Airport on Corporate Woods Drive, and we have been there ever since. This is our campus now. We've got 90,000 square foot of fabrication space and about 45,000 square foot of office there. And things have, 2019, BJ sold the business to the ESOP, so we're 100% employee owned now. We're almost out of space there as well now. We're currently putting on a 36,000 square foot addition to the east side of that office. A little trip down memory lane, just some familiar projects that Baker Group's done in the metro area over the years. You'll recognize a lot of these across Gateway Center, Mercy West Lakes Hospital, the old Fleming building downtown turned into apartment complexes, Wells Fargo at Jordan Creek. I think they've got 1.5 million square feet out there, something like that, and we've been involved in most of all those projects. They've been a great customer over the years. And the federal building that was just finished up. Community State Bank up in Ankeny, Principal kind of in the lower left. We've done a ton of work for Principal over the years. Everybody recognizes that middle one. And then the Walmart campus and one of the phases of Nationwide. Baker Group is a regional contractor. Again, headquarters in Ankeny, but we've got offices in Fort Dodge, Cedar Rapids, and Davenport. The Cedar Rapids office has become more and more significant all the time because of the amount of work over there in that side of the state. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. We've got offices in Kansas City, Louisville, and soon to be Lebanon, Indiana, just outside Indianapolis. Mostly supporting our automation business unit as they travel around with a particular customer. 1,500 employees total, of which about 1,000 of those are our union crafts folks. Over the years, we've most people know us as we started off as a plumbing contractor, like I said, but over the years we've added a lot of different capabilities: electrical, sheet metal, automation, security. We have 25 plus professional engineers on staff, so we do a ton of design build work. Compressed air, I'll talk a lot more about the modular stuff in a few minutes. Industrial business unit is really all about sort of ag and manufacturing side of the business, and then our service department. Oops. Gave up some information there. That's not going to be good. Baker Group is not just a big project contractor. We started doing some statistics a few years ago and started talking about this. And in 2025, of the 6,000 plus job numbers that we pulled in a year, like a third of them were less than $2,500, and 85% were less than $100,000. So we're not just a large contractor, and frankly, it would be hard to live in a city the size of Des Moines, Iowa, and just live off of big projects. All right, you may have seen the answer. This really ruins my question here, but I get this question at least once a week yet today. How is Baker Group related to Baker Electric? And I was going to quiz you and ask for some audience participation, but Okay. Option A. Bernie's cousin Britt split off from Baker Group in '71 and started his own electrical. B. Baker Electric is still a subsidiary of Baker Group. Or C. This is a trick question, and they were never related.
See.
Who thinks it's A? Anybody think it's A? Who thinks it's B? All right. Now that you really know the answer. Good job. I'm amazed at how many people in this city do not know the answer yet. All right, everybody seems to be interested in data center work right now, and both in Iowa and around the country. And Taylor, one of our gurus in the marketing department, came up with this background on this, and I said, hey, we're gonna highlight this because it's kind of a microcosm of what we're going to talk about today. Because with all the AI driving data center construction, she took and combined the gold rush of the 1840s with current data center construction and plugged them into ChatGPT, and this is the image that came out of that. So it's just kind of interesting to see the mining camp meshed with new data center construction. It's going to come in. A person can hardly go a day without reading in the newspaper or listen on TV. If you're like me, I listen to CNBC without some sort of information about what's going on in the data center market. And even, or just on the way over today, the Mag 7, right? Every once in a while, what's the Mag 7 doing today, and what's going on? All of our 401ks are wrapped up in this in one way or another. But it's a wave that hits us almost every single day. I ran across this in the Wall Street Journal back in February, and we thought it was kind of interesting, touting the cost of AI tops the moon landing. And if you start at the bottom of this graph and look at the Apollo space program in the 60s and 70s, the U.S. spent 0.2% of the GDP annualized on that program. And then you move up, and the interstate system kind of doubled that at 0.4%, the railroads at 2%, and then you get to just what Meta, Amazon, and Microsoft and Google are going to spend in 2026, and it's over 2% of GDP. And actually, if you add in some of the big names that are not mentioned there, and all the private data centers, it nearly doubles that number. So it's closer to 4% of GDP. So it's a huge amount of money. And I looked up just because I was curious, what we spend on national defense right now as a percent of GDP. Does anybody know what that number is? About 3% over the last several years. So we're actually spending more in the private sector on data centers than we are nationally for defense. Another just quick graph showing kind of what office building construction has done over the last 10 years versus data centers, and in 2026 those have actually crossed, and data centers are there's more dollars spent, a ton of money being spent in electrical power generation yet, just chasing the data centers. I don't expect you to be able to read anything on here, but this is an interesting map if you're a little bit of a data nerd, like I am. All those little arteries, multicolored lines show all the major transmission lines electrically in the U.S. The dots, the orange, the yellow, and the white. Yellow is current operating data centers in the United States. The orange is under construction, and the white is what's planned. So this actually shows up better than I had hoped. As you can see, a ton of stuff in the Eastern Seaboard, and a ton of stuff in the Ohio Valley and around Chicago. But the stuff that's planned around Chicago, or in the state of Texas in the next few years, is just unbelievable. Huge amount of construction planned there for data centers in the next few years. And if anybody's interested, Google Billy Roberts Maps. I don't know why it's called that, but he's the guy that kind of generates a lot of this stuff. all kinds of really cool maps about the data center industry. So what do these facilities actually look like? You've seen them driving around Des Moines and other places. In a lot of ways, they're big concrete boxes with a massive amount of electrical and mechanical infrastructure on the outside of them. And today's designs are all about chilled water. If you've read up on them, all of this equipment really generates chilled water. It's piped to the inside of the building. This is a project we were doing. I had our detailer just blow away all the roof and all the walls, but there's loop piping, 12 to 18-inch diameter, depending on the facility. Distributing all this chilled water around the facility. It comes in and to the ends of all these server racks. You can see the piping on top of those yellow supports, kind of. And then at the end of the day, all that stuff is piped directly to the back of those servers. Back in the olden days, nobody wanted water in their data centers for sure, because it could cause havoc in one way or another. But nowadays, this is how they cool the data centers. It's all chilled water driven, and it's piped directly to the back of the servers. It's crazy. I don't know how many of you have worked in the old style data centers in the early 2000s, but in the olden days, it was the raised floor, right? Has anybody worked in them? The raised floors, and you just pressurize the plenum underneath the floor. You had these perforated tiles, and you put them out front of the servers wherever you wanted them to direct the cool air. But old technology. So here in Iowa, Des Moines, we've got Microsoft, Meta, Apple in our backyard, along with several private installations as well. And there's ongoing projects going on these job sites pretty much continually. But the big project nowadays, the big construction is in Cedar Rapids. And excuse me, Google and QTS are building side by side on a 1,000-acre site there, about a mile north of the Cedar Rapids Airport. And if you get a chance to go over there, traffic around there is ridiculous, and it's a small city. Has anybody been over there to see it? There's 7,500 workers there, and it's from, you look at license plates, and there's people from all over the U.S. It's craziness in a lot of ways. Just to give you a sense of the impact on that community in construction permits, in 24 there was 17 million in permits pulled, and then in 25 you see what went to, it jumped to $2.6 billion in construction permits pulled. So that job site is crazy. So what does this mean for Baker Groups? Keep jumping ahead here. All right, here we go. What does this mean for Baker Group? Well, there's really two ways that we pursue this type of work. And one way is actually putting boots on the ground, sending people to these job sites to assemble all this piping that I showed. And we're doing that to a certain extent. We have folks over on both campuses in Cedar Rapids and here in Des Moines, which is great. And our automation department as well, is traveling around doing that work in other cities as well. But the other way that we're chasing this work is through shop fabrication of large piping skids that are used inside these data centers. And the developers now are building these systems such that they expect the things to be prefabricated and modularized, similar to that photo on the lower right. We got our start in doing this a couple of years ago. There was a GC that we had done a fair amount of work for from the Twin Cities, and they called and said, "Hey, we've got this job in North Dakota. We'd like you to come up here and bid on and look at it." And we said, "No, we want to go to North Dakota. It's cold up there. We don't know the market. We don't have people up there. We don't know the subcontractors, but we'd be more happy to help you sort of break this system down into modularized sections and see if we can fabricate some of this stuff in our shop. And they took us up on our idea, and we ended up doing that project. And we ended up shipping 190 skids to North Dakota over the next 9 months. And this is some of the larger ones, but that skid weighs more than 70,000 pounds and is an oversized, over width and over height load. So lots of big shipments to North Dakota. At the end of the day, pulling these hours back into our shop, the quality is better, the efficiency is better, and just the safety overall. If you compare doing this stuff out in the elements in North Dakota versus our shop here in Ankeny, Iowa, it's a huge difference. We now fabricate for 5 different data center customers on a regular basis, and have shipped to 8 other states, and we got 2 others on the board now, Texas and Ohio. Fabricating these skids takes a huge amount of space, both inside and outside the plant. Here you can see just a number of them lined up, ready to be shipped, all shrink wrapped. We have, needless to say, we've had to make a lot of upgrades and additions to our shop to accommodate all this stuff. That's called a combi lift, or a carrier to carry the skids around in the shop. We've invested in robotic welding machines. Just the speed of them compared to someone doing it by hand is crazy. And we got a laser pipe cutting tool that a few months ago was the largest in the country, and now there's been a few others installed. We've also increased the square footage of our shop in the last couple of years by about a factor of 10, and increased the number of people. 2 years ago we had 25 people working in full-time in our pipe fabrication shop, and now we have close to 100. And we hope to increase that some more in the next couple of years. Even though we've invested heavily in our shop, we still cannot keep up with the demand of this, which is a crazy problem to have. In 25, we actually subcontracted twice as many hours to other sub-fab partners than we performed ourselves here in Ankeny. So we've got almost a dozen partners around the country that do various fabricated parts for us. Some of the times they assemble them, or they build them and send them back to us to be assembled, and sometimes they ship them directly to the job site. This had a huge impact on our revenue. The light blue line is our, I'll say, traditional mechanical electrical work that we've done forever. The dark blue line in the middle is that work where we send boots on the ground out to data center customers. So it has doubled every year the last couple of years at least. In the same way on our shop fab is the green line. Again, significant increases in the last couple of years. The blue line in the middle in 2026, that's a lot related to the Cedar Rapids work that we're doing over there. So why chase these data centers? After all, it requires just a massive amount of people and staff, both in the shop and the field. Some of the schedules that they come up with are ridiculous, and if you fall behind, you don't want to fall behind, or you'll just get run over. And some of the contract language and liquidated damages is tough to work through as well. But like BJ Baker says, it's what the market is providing us right now. A lot of our traditional type work is just flat right now. So hence BJ's statement. But it has kept our guys busy in the field and the shop. It's great for our industry. It's made us a better contractor, a more sophisticated contractor in a lot of ways, from scheduling to estimating to contract negotiation. frankly, figuring out cash flow, because they're such big, massive projects. You stub your toe along the way and you get in trouble pretty quickly. And at the end of the day, it's been great for us as an ESOP to grow shareholder value. I lost the slide somewhere. Well, I'll talk about it. You don't have to see it. As from a leadership team, chasing these data centers has been a challenge, and we've come up with kind of three things that we're really concerned with. Number one is maintaining company culture, fiercely defending that. That's really all about people. It's our people in the field, keeping them safe. The jobs are just big and gnarly and complicated. So keeping them safe and sending people home at night safely. Along with that, they work so many hours. They're pushed to work 70, 80, 90 hours sometimes. So we've had to be purposeful about putting policy in place to really protect people from themselves sometimes, because you wear people out in a hurry. Secondly, continuing to take care of our local customers. And BJ would be the first to say it. We in no way want to abandon our local clientele in Des Moines, Iowa, to go chase a shiny object somewhere for a couple of years. So working hard to keep the same personnel, staffing, field personnel, working on our local projects and for those local customers that we've always done, and hiring additional staff to do the stuff out of town. And then really trying to respond to all this data center stuff in a responsible manner is tough. There's so many opportunities. There's this contractors, Josh. We sometimes have a hard time saying no to things, and we can get over our skis a little bit. So just trying to figure out the right mix of projects, the things that fit our culture, and then trying to choose